All right, assalamu alaikum. All right, so we're gonna these are gonna be the last few ideas from this lesson. All right, so the first one is gonna be about reflections on horizontal and vertical lines. All right, so let's do this one, on the board. All right, so let's suppose I have, uh, you know, so I have an image, all right, and I'm gonna reflect it, but this time I'm not gonna reflect it on the x-axis or the y-axis. All right, so this one right here, I'm gonna call y-axis. This one right here, I'm gonna call the x-axis, right? So now I'm gonna have a figure. Let's say I have a figure like this. Right, something like this. All right, so I have this figure, but I'm not gonna I'm gonna rotate around a horizontal line, but not the x-axis. I'm gonna draw another one, right? So now I have this line, right? So what is the equation of the line? Here's what you do, right? You look at every point, and you see, does every point have the same x value or the same y value? Well, you can find out they all have the same y value, right? Because for example, this point over here, right, is what? It's 0, comma -2. Okay. Now this point over here is going to be 1, 2, 3, comma -2, right? So you can see the x values are changing from left to right, but the y values are always -2, right? This is -2 on the y-axis. Every point here has a y value of -2. So I'm going to put y equals -2. All right, that's the equation of the line, right? Now in this case, there's not necessarily like a specific rule that you can use, like x, y goes to this, right? Like we did for the other ones. There's not going to be necessarily a specific rule. So in this case, you basically just have to take each point and figure out the distance to this line, and then replicate that distance on the other side. Right? So let's take this point. This point, right, from the y-axis is 1, 2, 3. 3 spots above. Okay, so we're gonna go 3 spots below. 1, 2, 3, down over here, right? So what is gonna be the coordinate of this point? 1, comma negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? It's the same thing for this one, right? This one is the same distance. 1, 2, 3 away from this, so 1, 2, 3. Right? Now this one up here is one extra distance from this line, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? From this line, this point is 4 units away. So on the other side, I'm going to go another 4 units. So it's going to end up all the way down here, right? So these 3 points, if you reflect it over this line, y equals -2, are going to end up down here, 1, 2, 3, right? So in this case, you just have to do it manually, right? If you're reflecting around the x-axis or the y-axis, then you can just use the rule. If it's something else, if it's another horizontal or vertical line, then you just got to count the spots and do it manually. All right. All right. So the next topic is going to be reflections around some other diagonal line. All right. So in this case, right, if you look at this example over here, right, they're not using y equals x. This line is like a little bit, one space down from y equals x, right? Y equals x goes to the origin, right, 0, comma 0. You can see that this point here, right, is not going through the origin, right? So what do you do, right? In this case, right, let's take a point, right? So let's say point A, right? So point A, I want to kind of like reflect over and end up over here, right? This diagonal line, right? I'm gonna reflect over it, so it's gonna end up like over here somewhere, right? You can kind of just tell. But here's what you do: you got to count the number of spots. The number of units until you get to the line, right? Now, here's what you do, right? You go 1 down, 1 across, right? Every single time that you travel towards the line, you got to go 1 down, 1 across, 1 down, 1 across, and basically see how many times it takes you to do that until you hit the line. So from A, I go 1 down, 1 across, one down, one across. I guess that's two of those, right? That's basically two of those one down, one across things. So on the other side, right, what are we going to do when we're going to continue from there? One down, one across, one down, one across, right? Two times, right? So from A to get to the line, we had to do that two times. From the line, so then we're going to continue two more times. So however many times you had to, kind of take this step approach over here, that's how many times you keep going. So A prime is going to be over here. And same thing for B, right? You can take a look, right? Let's take a look at B. So first we're going to count to the line. So it's one down, one across. That's one. One down, one across. That's two. One down, one across. That's three. So that's three of those, right? So let's start at this same point that we ended up at, and we're going to do that three times. We're going to do that three times to get to B prime. So one down, one across. That's one. One down, one across. That's two. One down, one across. That's three. And so we get to B prime. And you repeat that for C. So this is how you reflect something over a diagonal line that's not y equals x. Now, if it's y equals x, you can still use this method. It's still going to work. But we have the rule. Right? Remember, we figured out the rule. So we don't need to do this method. You can just use the rule. It's a little bit easier because you can just plug in the numbers.